even as someone who's been slightly sceptical about Mr. Burnham, you can see why Labour MPs have been so keen to have him and why he is so different from Keir Starmer. Even saying small things, small asides, like saying he will not use a whipping system in Parliament to close down debate. Keir Starmer did this, suspended MPs for voting to get rid of a two-child benefit cap. To hear somebody who can give a speech, give a vision, articulate something that, literally uses the word hope, allow people to dream. These are all the sort of positivity, the messaging that Labour has been so badly missing. Now, there are some interesting points. Andy Burnham has a very radical vision for this country, and he is going to have to find money for that. He wants to build lots of houses. He wants to create effectively a Downing Street operation in the north, in Manchester. He wants to devolve power to allow every postcode to grow. This does not come cheaply. And one of the reasons that Britain is so centralised is because of the desperate need to try and save money. So it's going to be difficult because he's just promised there as well to continue with Rachel Reeves' fiscal rules on tight borrowing. That means he will have to go for tax rises if he wants to do this properly. Boris Johnson wanted to devolve more, wanted to do more of this, but ran into the inevitable problem of how do you pay for it. If there's one big criticism of today is that he doubled down on Keir Starmer's unwillingness to take scrutiny. Keir Starmer recently tried to uninvite journalists to the NATO summit. He had to U-turn on that. He's cancelled regular briefings, swapped journalists' questions for pet social media influencers who will ask him patsy questions. And today, Andy Burnham went a stage further and just took no questions at all. So there was no attempt at all to have any scrutiny on the various big policy decisions and huge philosophical changes. This is a man who says he wants to end the last 40 years of consensus on economic policy and end so-called trickle-down economics. Doesn't want to take questions. That's going to have to change, unfortunately, as he goes forward. And it doesn't sound like Andy Burnham's going to be struggling to make decisions. Another problem of the Starmer government. He sounds more confident, more positive. You could argue that he is, as a kind of Prime Minister in waiting, in effect, he's in a kind of honeymoon period where he can feel positive, and, when the rubber hits the road, it may get more difficult. But for now, you can see why Burnham is the person, why they felt that none of their 400 MPs was good enough compared to him, and he had to be brought in. And we will see if he can really turn it around and whether this positivity can survive scrutiny. One thing, though, I would say is if he wants to deliver this radical vision, if he really wants a 10-year mission, he is going to probably have to think about an early election. And that was definitely one of the questions he did not want to answer today. Now, we live in a parliamentary, not a presidential system officially, so he doesn't have to call an election, but the politics of it will be good as well. If it really is a positive Burnham bout, so we saw a poll last week where Labour up 6 points just at the prospect of him winning, then there is actually a decent chance he will just grab the opportunity in the autumn, maybe spring next year at the latest, and just say, right, Reform are not ready, and they're not. They're in a bit of a mess, actually, despite their reasonable poll ratings. The Conservatives still have issues to work out. Their leader maybe is doing quite well in the poll party, is well below 20% and just not ready to fight another election. Let's steal a march and get this out of the way, come back with maybe a smaller majority, but 5 years to build on.